responses coming through. So yes, yes, yes. Okay, Uche says no. Professor Idris says yes. Please keep going with your responses on the chat. I want to make it as interactive as possible. But also, this is being recorded. In case it needs to be shared, it will be shared for those who have not been able to join to a larger network. The full focus really is to get a feel as to where you are at. And so that's the first question. So some yes, some and some no's. Okay, a follow-up question would be, how many of us have won any grants, say in the last, say 1 year? How many of us have won grants, any grant at all in the last 1 year? Could you please confirm? Okay, how many of us have won grant? Okay, that's good. Thank you, Jemima. I can see you won a grant in the last 1 year. Okay. Anybody else won a grant in the last 1 year? Okay, Ibrahim Dowda says no. Professor Dozier says yes, yes, he has. This is absolutely fantastic. Okay. Fantastic. That's really good. So please, if you just respond in the chat, I'm trying to get a feel for who's in the room before we actually proceed. But don't worry, we're going to try and capture as many people as possible as the session goes on. Thanks for your help with that. Okay. Okay, Jemima, I see your hand is up. Okay, you're responding to the question. Okay, the final question is this, and this is what I want to do before we proceed. How many of us have actually applied for a grant in the last 6 months? How many of us have applied for a grant in the last 6 months?
I have applied.
Okay, that's good. Anybody else? Professor Dozie has applied. Jemima has applied. That's fantastic. So a few people have applied. Okay, that's good. Professor Idris, the last 6 months. Okay. Okay, that's good. So okay, I know most of you on the road. Please mute your microphones. Thank you very much. That's good. Okay, now let me put it to you. So this week I've applied for 2 grants and working with different institutions. And last week I think I applied for 2 grants, including a big EU grant for different partners. I think it was like 12 partners in Europe and about 12 partners in Africa. These are mostly academic and institutions and universities. And the reason is because if a week goes by and I haven't applied for a grant, it's not very comfortable. So please mute your microphones as we proceed so we don't disturb the process. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, so if a week or 2 weeks goes by and I haven't applied or in some form supported an international grant, then it's not very, very comfortable. That's actually the way it's designed. So because there is so much grant opportunities available, the question is, do people actually apply for grants as much as they're supposed to? That's the big question. So even though there are so many grants opportunities available, the question is, do folks actually apply for grants as much as they should? I doubt they do. Okay, so I know I asked earlier how many have applied for a grant in the last 6 months. Many people's hands went up. What if I asked how many have applied for a grant in the last 1 month? Could you please respond and be very honest? I want to make a point. How many have applied for a grant the last 1 month? Say yes or no in the chat. Thank you, Professor Dozier. That's fantastic. Anybody else? Has applied for a grant in the last 1 month? Professor Idris has applied for a grant in the last 1 month. Anybody else has applied for a grant in the last 1 month? And if you haven't, just say no. That's okay. It's the reason why we're having this conversation. Okay? If you haven't, just say no, and that's fine. Have you applied for a grant in the last 1 month? Yes or no, please. Thank you, Ibrahim, for saying no. Anybody else? Okay, I'm just trying to get a feel for the room. We're going to progress shortly. Jemima says no, that's fine. Anybody else? In the last 1 month? Professor Dozier says no, that's fine. Okay, says yes, which is fine. Okay. Uche says no. Okay, Professor Dozier says an EU grant, even better. Okay, good. So what am I asking all these questions? The truth is, many people think it is the availability or the lack of funding. That's not actually true. There is so much money available, but people don't actually take advantage of the funds available. Okay? So I will show you what I mean. Okay, so I asked in some sense, how many have applied for grants? I said I've applied for at least maybe 5 grants in the last 2 weeks. And that's true, obviously, for different institutions. So I want to ask a simple question, if I may. Can anybody in the room list for me, if you were asked this offhand, and maybe I met you somewhere on, maybe in the corridor or somewhere in the lift, and I said, do you know up to 10 international bodies that give funding in your field? Might you know them? Yes or no? Be very honest. I want to make a point. If I said, do you know up to 10 international bodies that give funding in your field of specialty? Do you know them? Yes or no, please? Let's go. Don't worry, I'm going to leave the room open shortly for interaction and questions as we proceed. But let me first get a feel for the room. So can you respond if you know up to 10 international bodies that give funding in your field of specialty? So Professor Idris says no. Okay. Oluwaseun says no. Anybody else? Please go, please go, please go. Please respond honestly. So I'm laying the foundation, not offhand, but if you Google or research, you might. Uche says no. Jemima says no. Anybody else? Keep going, please. Fantastic. Okay. Okay. Anybody? Okay. So okay, Micah just joined. That's fantastic. So now, why am I asking the question? What if I told you that I know up to at least 50 offhand? And maybe if I look at my folder on my laptop, I know up to 100. As a matter of fact, there's actually a folder, an Excel spreadsheet I have, which is the top 100 international bodies that give funding in my field. I know them. And why is that important? It's very straightforward. It's very simple. How can you be looking for money and don't know who gives money? Because if you're truly looking for money, a fundamental basic principle is to actually know who gives the money. Because then what happens is, because you know who gives money, you can track them, you can follow them, you can find out why they give money, when they give money. So my Excel spreadsheet is quite detailed. I know when these guys give calls for funding, I know why they give calls for funding, I know what documents they even require to give calls for funding or to give funding. I even know who they gave funding to last. And why is that important? It's important because that I'm able to track them. I'm able to follow them. I'm able to proceed or progress in those kind of conversations towards getting access to what they're offering whenever they're offering it. And why is that important? It's important because many times when I find an academic or director of entrepreneurship applying for a grant or in some sort, chances are the reason they know about the grant, and if this is true, please confirm this, gentlemen. The reason they know about the grant is because a friend or the brother of their in-law forwarded a link to the nephew of their niece, and then mistakenly they just bump into the link in a family WhatsApp group, and then they know about the funding. If that is true for you, be very honest. In at least most of the circumstances, can you say yes or no, please? If this is true for you in most of your circumstances, how you knew about the funding is because you bumped into a link by chance and you click on the link, it's a funding opportunity until you applied. Yes or no, is that true for you? Please be honest. I want to make a point. I'm waiting. Are people responding in the chat? Please respond in the chat, please. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So because everybody, most of the time when I meet folks and I ask them about an application, and the reason why it's quite tricky, if you have to depend on chance opportunities, is because what happens then is that when you apply or click on the link for the funding call, it's mostly 1 hour, 1 week, or 2 days, or 3 days to deadline. So you're always in a hurry, trying to catch up. And most funding assessments or funding assessors can determine which funding application was rushed, in the writing of the application because of how it's written. You haven't even spent time to proofread it. You haven't even spent time to give it to somebody who wasn't involved in the actual writing of the application to also proofread it. All those contribute to why the grant is actually being refused. Okay? Because you're probably wondering, why is Dr. Akanimo Odon, myself, this is me, able to actually give a talk like this to folks like you? It's because, with every sense of modesty, I have won over 40 million pounds in the last 4 to 5 years in grants. Now, that is just because I have a sense of what to do, when to do it, and why you do it, which is why I win so much funding. Okay. So because of that, what we've now done is put it together into an opportunity that people can actually respond to and actually apply to and get capacity building or training. And you might say, well, I've gone for a training before. Let me actually paint you a picture. Last year or 2 years ago, a vice chancellor in Nigeria, I was going into the country for a few meetings, and I rang him. I said, VC, sir, I am going to be in country in the next few weeks. Would it be okay if I stop by at your university? I'll mention the name of the university. If I stop by your university and give a talk to your staff members? And the vice chancellor said, oh, that would be fantastic. And he asked me, so what will be the topic of your talk? And I said, let me speak about international funding and grantsmanship. And I remember him saying, oh, don't talk about that. And I said, why VC? And the vice chancellor said, because 3 months ago, there was a comprehensive training program that was delivered for over 4 days to the staff of the university. So he was like, if you're going to give a talk, give a separate talk, not on funding. I said, okay, VC, that's fine. So I chose a separate topic. I flew into the country and I went to the university. And I remember I was in a room with over 200 academics of this university in the room. And I remember asking them, so the VC told me that most of you, if not all of you, had an extensive training program for over 3 to 4 days on international funding. And I'm curious to know, in the last 3 months since the training took place, how many of you have applied for a grant? Can somebody here guess how many hands went up? Can you guess how many hands went up? Anybody? Can you guess how many hands went up? Jemima, you have been very nice. I think only about 2 hands went up. So now I'm in shock. I'm wondering. I don't understand. So what was the training about 3 months ago? And someone said it's about the writing of proposals so they can win grants. And I've said, so after the training 3 months ago, only 2 people have actually applied for grants, and they were all looking at me. And I know the reason why, because I've been doing this for a long time. There's a reason why I win so much funding. As a matter of fact, I travel all over the continent delivering training program on how folks and academics, universities, professionals can win funding. As a matter of fact, I just got back from South Africa, literally this morning. And in the last 1 week, I've been to University of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa in Durban. I've been to University of Nelson Mandela University having a meeting on these dimensions. I've been to University of Johannesburg. I've been to Uganda, Namibia. I've been to Botswana. I've been to Zambia. Because there is so much demand for funding, but nobody seems to be applying for the funding. So I remember last year, because I'm also a visiting researcher, a visiting fellow at University of Johannesburg, the Geneva Business School. And so I received like a note and saying from the dean to come and deliver a training on writing proposals for grants to the staff of the business school. And I remember when I saw the outline, I was wondering, over 80% of the outline was on the fundamental principles of methodology and how to write proposals, how to put together a good executive summary, and how to put together a nice case for support. And I'm like, excuse me, Dean, excuse me, sir. Do you know from my experience, that is not the problem why people don't win grants? Because the average academic can actually write. I mean, academics, they write papers every other week. It's how they get promoted. So writing isn't the issue. From my experience, it's not the issue. Because even right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you went on Google and typed, or even went on ChatGPT and typed samples or templates of international proposals that has won funding, do you know what you're going to see? You're going to see a long list. So you're telling me that if you had access to 2 or 3 or 4 proposals that has won funding, you won't be able to prepare or cook your own proposals. Of course you will, but that isn't the problem, because to write is not an issue. Ladies and gentlemen, the real issue is on every other thing besides the writing. That's the reason why 200 staff or more can be trained on grant writing, and over 3 months since the training, no single person, or just 2, have been able to actually apply for funding. It's because it's every other thing that nobody is considering. As a matter of fact, nobody I know is teaching about this. And as long as they are not, nobody will win grants. Now, do a simple experiment, ladies and gentlemen. Can you get your mobile phones, if you may? If you are able to come on video, please do. I want to show you something. You come on video. Can you get your mobile phones, everybody? I'm hoping it has internet in it. I'm going to give you a simple exercise quickly. Now, go to your Google search. So I'm showing you why I win funding. Because I not only do I know how to write proposals, but more than that, I have figured out a series of dimensions and principles that makes you win funding every time you apply, or at least win funding as much as you want. So when you look at your phone, go to Google and then type the following. I'm writing this in the chat. Type international funding then write your area of specialty. So if you are in chemistry, international funding in chemistry. If you are in education, international funding in education. If you're a director of entrepreneurship, which most of you are, right? International funding in entrepreneurship. You might even modify the search to even say, because obviously you are directors of entrepreneurship and you focus on developing entrepreneurship and career enhancement for your students on campus. So you can even type international funding in student careers development, international funding in youth entrepreneurship. Doesn't matter what it is. Do it quickly and let me now open it to the room. Tell me what you see. Anybody, just feel free. If you found something, unmute yourself and tell the room what you see. I want to make a point with this. Tell me what you see. Anybody? Let's be free. Once you've done on Google international funding in whatever it is, can you tell me what you see and click enter? Yeah. You're still typing? Yes. Professor Dozier, did you see something? Are you trying to speak? I can see you tell me your video. Anybody, what do you see?
I saw phone call for proposal for global animal advocacy grants.
Yes.
Animal Sciences Scholarship 2026.
Yes.
Grants for Animal Welfare, Pets and Wildlife International.
Yes.
41 scholarship for Animal Science in Switzerland.
Yes.
Funding opportunities, Cornell calls.
Prof,
Animal Science funding priorities.
Thank you, sir. If you can continue till tomorrow, if you scroll down, you will see a long list, page 2, page 3 to page 30. So I saw Chibia, Professor Shingo. I think you unmute yourself. Could you tell us what you see, ma?
Let me unmute myself.
Okay, we can hear you.
I have ongoing call for proposals for agricultural research.
Okay.
IFAD grant, youth
Fantastic.
agriculture grant.
Fantastic.
Huh? There are so many.
There are so many, right? Thank you very much, man. That's what I want to establish. Ladies and gentlemen,
So many.
ladies and gentlemen, no matter your area of specialty, what you will find is what is a long, endless list. So basically, I might have say that you literally have money on your phone in your pocket. You walk about with money, but you are looking for money, and you are still waiting to bump into if like links for proposals by chance when it mistakenly falls into a family WhatsApp group. Well, that's not what I do, because I don't want to put myself in a chance position. That's my point. So how many of us have been creative in looking for funding? Do you even know who gives funding? I asked a minute ago, very few people actually know up to 10. Well, I know 100. Okay? So why am I saying this? So nobody is teaching this. They are teaching people how to write proposals. So beyond that, so now to teach this other aspect is actually called part of entrepreneurial thinking. That's what it is. It makes you think differently about funding. Now, I can go on and on about different perspectives, the politics of funding. Do you realize that everybody who gives funding have one thing in common? They always like other people to know in some form or the other that they give funding. That is true. Anybody who gives funding in some form or the other would like the bigger group or bigger public to know that they give funding. As a matter of fact, I know of a case or a few cases where the funding that they actually gave was less than the funding they used to promote the funding. Did you get me? So the funding that they actually used to promote themselves for giving funding, the cost of the marketing and the promotion was more than the actual funding they gave. It means that anybody who gives funding and have people that have won the funding, it's not going to be a secret. It means you would find them easily. If you went to the website of a funding body, you can track who won the funding before last year. So let me give you an example. If you knew now that somebody or the funding call came out in April last year, and you check because you will find this, and the funding call for applications came out in April the year before last, what does it mean? Anybody? Can you tell me what that actually means? Talk to me. I want to make it a conversation. So if you went to the website of a funding body and discovered that they gave a call for in April last year, April the year before last, April this year, what does it mean? And we're in September.
It means that next year the same call will come in the same April.
Thank you, Professor Ogbonna. Exactly. So why do you have to now wait until March or even April?
Sorry, hold on. It wasn't
Yes,
Ogbonna.
Okay, sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, but Ogbonna is saying that it implies a regularity.
Exactly my point. So on my Excel spreadsheet, I actually have it written. It's actually tagged recurrent calls. That means it's coming again. So by September or August, I start putting necessary documents together to apply for the grant when it does come in April. You will see me do things like I'll sit down, write an official letter to the funder and say, dear so and so. Based on my careful investigation, I discovered that I want to first appreciate all your effort and all your work. It's always nice to praise any funder. The amazing contribution towards development of chemistry or development of educational pursuits or youth development, whatever that specialty is, first praise them. Then you go, based on my assessment, I discovered that you've been given the calls around the period of April. Now, remember, I'm writing this in September, August. So I'm asking now in the email, is there a chance that you might be given a similar call next year, April? If so, might you be open to share with me if the themes and the topics or the sub-themes might be similar to your previous calls. Thank you very much. I'll be open to a conversation or a chat. Regards, Akan. It's very simple. No, they won't say no. In fact, you know what happens? Many actually reply and they say, "Oh, dear Dr. Odon, we deeply appreciate your interest, your amazing interest in what we're trying to achieve, and how you've been able to track our work and your insight. As a matter of fact, we hope to be able to put the similar call in April next year." Boom! That's coded information. Only me knows because I asked. Now, let me ask you a question. Who teaches this in training programs on writing proposals for grants? Nobody teaches that.
No one does that.
Thank you very much, Ma, Prof. Nobody does that. So you teach this person how to write an amazing proposal, but they have no idea about anything else, realizing that there's an ecosystem around grantsmanship. This is the reason why I requested for this workshop based on the funding opportunity available. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the perspectives around funding that is captured under the first P. There are about 6 P's that we cover. That actually, at the end of the 6 P's, you are fully prepared to begin to win some serious money. But nobody teaches it. They only teach how to write proposals. That's the first P. Perspectives. There are many more perspectives, but it cannot be covered within this call because this call is a simple briefing call. Move quickly to the next P. This is the people. How many of you have a crew you work with when you're applying for grants? Because each time I see anybody applying for grants, or they call me to guide them or to maybe be a partner on their grant, it's only one person applying for the grant. So let me get this right. You're the person writing proposals. You're the one collecting the CVs. You're the one looking for support letters. You're the one doing the budget. You're the one looking for partners. And meanwhile, you are a lecturer with 300 students. You are on 5 committees in the university, on 7 subcommittees, and you also have to attend workshops, look for data, research data, publish papers. Only one man. No wonder you only apply for one every 7 months. It makes no sense. There is nobody I know who wins a lot of money who does it on their own. I don't. I have what I call a money crew. Does anybody teach you this? Nobody teaches you this in training programs on funding. So you understand all the principles of writing proposals, but nobody tells you, wait a minute, you should put a crew around yourself to make it easy for immediate responses, for quick responses over time, because the more you apply, the more you win. So we train on who makes up your money crew. There are principles around what makes up your money crew. Just the way there are principles around what makes up your perspective view around the international funding landscape. Who gives money? When do they give money? What do they require to give money? All of this come into view, enhances your capacity for grantsmanship because it's an art. It's called grantsmanship for a reason. It's an art. It's an act. It's a process. So that's the second P, people. Who do you work with to apply for grants? Do you even know the makeup of that crew? The next one is partnerships, number 3. Let me ask a question. How many in this room who's applied for a grant? And please be very honest. I want to make a point. How many of you applying for a grant have actually applied for a grant together with somebody from a separate university, a separate country, and a separate continent in your application? Yes or no, please. Can you respond in the chat before I actually make my point? Can you respond in the chat? How many of you have applied for funding, but in the funding, you were intentional to include people from separate region in the Nigeria, from separate language, separate tribe, and I'll tell you why it's important. Separate country outside the country, Nigeria, separate continent, or even separate region in Africa. And it's a part of your mapping in application. How many of you have done a yes or no, please? So I'm showing you secrets of why I win so much funding. And this is what we teach in the programs? Thank you very much. Yes or no, please? Thanks to Temilade. She says no. Please be honest. Yes or no? Now, I want to paint you a picture. The who says no, thanks, Felix. Felix says yes. But each time I do this, whether I'm traveling from one country to the other, one university to the other, and each time I ask the question, chances are over 80% of the folks who they've applied to apply for funding will tell me that they don't do that. Now, so I'm going to ask you a question so you understand. So I want to put you in the position of the funder. As a simple question. So if you had money to give, follow me, and one group A says, give us $1 million, and we will put together an amazing project to solve a problem in Nigeria. And in fact, to solve a problem in northern Nigeria. In fact, it will be powerful, will transform lives, which will be amazing. You will see great outputs. That's group A. Group B says, give us $1 million. We'll put together a project where we'll solve a problem in northern Nigeria. It will be amazing and powerful. But at the same time, we'll also do a reach out to solve some of the problems in southern Nigeria as well. And on top of that, when we have any workshops or conferences, we will invite folks from Namibia, from South Africa, from Kenya and Uganda to benefit from the learning of our project. Now, if you had money, who would you give your money to, A or B? Can you write in the chat, please? Thanks, Felix. Be honest, guys. Who would you give your money to? Thanks, Temilade. Thanks, Oluwaseun. Thanks, Ogbonna. Anybody, keep going. There are more people in the room. Thanks, Jemima. So all of you agree you will actually give Idowu. Thank you, sir. You will give your money to B. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Ibrahim. So, but how come when you're applying for grants, you don't put yourself in the position of the funder and you just do only you? There are people who I actually know who confess to me that they actually use university laptop and internet and services to apply for grants. But even their colleague next door don't know they're applying for a grant. When the colleague comes towards them, they quickly switch the laptop and be doing office work. Then when the colleague leaves, they switch back. They switch back into what? Into grantsmanship. And you wonder why you don't win grants. Because nobody does it without partnerships. It's true, Anthony. You're very correct. It's very true. It just only you in your circle. Let me tell you something. Within the program, I'm just giving you, this is a briefing session, like a workshop to kind of open your minds towards why funding is so powerful. And if you put the structure in place, you will begin to win lots of money. Partnership is crucial. And according to my experience, there are 3 levels of partnerships to win grants. But before I do that, let me actually tell you a true story. So 2 years ago, I know of a friend of mine who saw a proposal or a call for a grant, and she put the grants together and she asked me to be a partner. It was fantastic. They put the application together, but for some reason they couldn't win the grant. So she reached out to me and said, "Hey, Doc, we couldn't win this grant." So for me, because when I apply for grants, I don't like not to win it. I've got to that point. I've applied for so many and I've won so many. So I want to investigate. Why haven't we won this one? So I asked the colleague to send me the actual proposal. So she did. Guess what I did? I began to investigate. I went to the website of the funding as the funding body, and I was looking through the documents, their strategy, because most people don't do this, but I do. I'm telling you why I win funding. And I discovered something in one of their documents. I discovered that in their strategy for the next 5 years, part of the strategy was that they want to increase their work and impact in Francophone Africa. Follow me? I said, really? So I now went back to the proposal. I discovered that my friend, had used the partners that they stated in the proposal was in Nigeria, Zambia, and Kenya. So what do you think I did? The same proposal. I didn't change much in it, maybe very few. I just put Senegal as a partner, Mali, and Niger. Submitted it, and we won the funding. Are you hearing me? The politics of funding, understanding partnership mapping. There's actually a secret to mapping partners, and it's broken down under multidisciplinary partners. So multidisciplinary partners are, I'm in chemistry. Normally, I would apply for a grant to say I will solve all the chemical issues in society. But guess what? What actually excites a funder is to find out, wait a minute, is there a different perspective towards the solving of the problem? Even though you're a chemistry expert, is there a business dimension to this proposal, which will require getting a partner from a business school? But is there a policy or like a legal perspective to this proposal, which will require getting what? An expert in law, the law of chemicals. You see what I mean? That this mapping I'm talking about requires an expertise skill to actually map it such that you convince the funder you are intentional about which partners you brought to the project. And your intention is to actually solve that problem. Because in society, you know this, no problem exists in isolation. It's a perspective to every problem. And one of the ways you can use to do this is using the dimensions called the SDG alignment. And this is taught in the program. How can you use the SDG? Because remember, SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals for the UN, is actually a view to achieving 17 objectives or outcomes. And so if you can use the SDG, there's a way you can map it such that you can now know which other disciplines can I invite onto my project so I align with the SDGs you've actually cited. It's actually a trick to it. I can't show this on the platform today, but it's actually so. But this is taught on the program. But I want to try make you aware that there are other ways to view applications, and it's beyond just applying and just your own discipline alone. Nobody gives funding anymore for monopolistic views or just of one discipline. It needs to be multidisciplinary. That's level 1 of the partnership, which is the third P. Level 2 is what you call the societal partners. What do I mean? In society, that's what you call the quadruple helix. So it's academia, industry, government, and NGOs. So as an academic, maybe you are used to applying for grants, but you're only stating yourself as the core applicant. Let me ask a simple question. How many of us in the room, I'll be very honest, have applied for a grant and you've listed an industry partner on your proposal? Yes or no? Let's see what's happening. Talk to me. Please be honest. How many of you have applied for a grant as an academic or professional and you've listed a company partner, like a business, as a partner on your grant? Yes or no, please?
Never.
Be very honest. Professor Dozier, thanks for being honest, Prof. Kingsley, no. Idris, thank you. Professor Idris says yes. Michael says no.
No.
Now let me ask a question. Let me clarify why this is important.
No.
So you say all the secrets I'm sharing with you. I'm covering this only under a one-day training. But in reality, this is delivered as a 6 weeks comprehensive online training. Very powerful, very comprehensive. But today was like a briefing session to show you why people don't win grants. Guess what? I can't remember when last I applied for a grant that I did not list a company or business partner, even if it was a research project. Do you know why? Because a business partner on a proposal shows to the funder that if there is any research output, like a paper or like there are many outputs, there's a potential for commercialization of the output. And a business partner is the best party that shows evidence that this output can be commercialized. That's why I always list a business partner. If what I'm saying is making sense, can you say yes, 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 please? I want to make sure everyone is following.
Yes, yes, yes.
What I'm saying is making sense. Can you say yes, 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 please? Because that's very easy.
Yes.
Because ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
no funder would believe, no funder would believe that an academic, even if it's true, that an academic has the capacity to commercialize a product from research and begin to make serious money through enterprise. Funders won't believe it. But if you say, I will try my best and bring out a powerful output as a researcher, but guess what? I have a partner who is a business, and this is their expertise, so they can help in the commercialization. Now you are talking. That's one of the quadruple helix. Another one is NGOs. So, question: how many of us in the room have applied for a grant and listed an NGO as a partner on your grant? Yes or no? Be honest. I want to make a point. Thank you very much for being honest. Now, do you know what an thank you, be very honest. Thanks, Ijoma. Thanks, Ido. Thanks, Professor Dozier. Now, I never make any mistake. Any grant I apply for, ladies and gentlemen, thanks, Yinka. Yinka says never. Any grant I apply for, if that proposal has an output that has the potential to influence local communities, villages, the vulnerable people, those who are isolated from society, disability, those are maybe they're facing disability issues, all those key like rural communities. Having an NGO partner is the most powerful way to show a funder that with my NGO partner, any output that is produced on this project, there's a potential that it will reach rural communities through engagement using a partnership with the NGO partner listed on the grant. That's why I always have NGO partners on proposals. But most people never do, and they wonder why they don't win why they don't win the grants. Now, I mean, is that making sense? Why you can list an NGO partner on proposals? Because guess what? You might be an academic, but the truth is most academics are high flyers, a top professor. No, most funders won't believe that you are the same person who will now go to a rural community to go and speak to the villagers or to rural people or to rural communities who are struggling and make them happy, give them training. They won't believe that. But having an NGO partner, it shows your intention to reach those locations that nobody is reaching. That's why you have an NGO partner. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, say yes, it does, please, before I now continue.
Yes, it does.
Anybody else? Does it make sense? Why you have an NGO partner on
Yes,
proposal?
it does. Yes, it does.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, let me tell you the last one. I always make sure, no matter how small, I list a government agency partner.
Yes, it does.
Thank you very much for confirming. So I know I'm communicating because it's a conversation. I always make sure, this is a part of the quadruple helix, government. I always make sure that I include a government agency partner on my proposals. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, that is such a powerful contribution or engagement to have a government agency partner on your proposal shows the funder, and it's a simple statement. With my government agency partner, any research output through this government agency, there's a potential for policy advocacy, for policy alignment, to influence policy for sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing excites or makes a funder happy than to see a support letter from a government agency partner as part of your application. It's powerful. I'm telling you secrets why I win funding. If this makes sense to you, say yes, it does. Don't worry, I'm wrapping up shortly.
Yes, it does.
So you have a government agency partner as part of your partner's mapping. Okay? Yes, it does. Thank you very much, Professor Dozier. Thanks, Obioma. Thanks, Michael David. Thank you very much, sirs. Much appreciated. Thanks to Bikisu. Thanks, Obonna. Thank you, Temilade. This is absolutely true. Government agency partners brings a new dimension to your project by listing them. Now, I can imagine people are now thinking, hey, but Doc, don't you have to share all the money the more partners you have? Excuse me, not necessarily. Because a government agency partner can be there, not in the main project itself, but aligned to the project to begin to investigate, maybe deliver like maybe a policy workshop. That's all they do, for example. Maybe engage with government in the region on how to kind of get that project endorsed. That's all they are doing. Maybe even attend the workshop to bring a perspective or a highlight, a dimension that how you might influence policy. That's all they might do, depending on what the project actually is. So my point is, bringing so many partners doesn't necessarily mean that you are sharing all the money, especially if the funding opportunity or the value of the funding is actually small. So I'm moving quickly now because we are past the hour. I didn't want to keep it for so long. It's supposed to be a 1 hour briefing and training session. Now I want to move straight to preparation. Now, what's preparation? The reason I'm able to respond to funding opportunities quickly, like literally over time, is because I am prepared. So what do I mean? Do you realize that when you sit down to put an application together, it takes time? And when you now spend so long putting an application together, what normally happens? What happens is the fact that you now maybe don't win the grant. You develop what you call a lethargy. Oh, goodness, discouragement. So when next you even see a call, what happens is the fact that even to get that momentum to apply again, you're discouraged because you've applied for last 2 times. After all the work you did, you didn't win it. The reason is because you haven't put a structure to your application process. Now, let me be honest with you. And so in the program, this is actually being taught. We teach you this. Okay? I have on my laptop a folder, and the folder has about 72 or 73 full proposals across different disciplines already written. Did you hear what I said? This is true. It's a folder, it's folders for grants. It's over 70 proposals, or at least the framing, the key elements of a full proposal has already been written across different disciplines. So what do you think happens, ladies and gentlemen, when I see a call for a grant? Can someone guess the first thing that happens in my mind for the first 5 to 10 minutes? Anybody? Talk to me. Yes, Ogbonna, your hand is up. Unmute yourself, sir, and tell me, what do you think? What do you think I do when I see a call for a grant? The first thing I do in the first 5-10 minutes. Yes, go on.
Yeah, you try to map the new
Oh,
proposal to
that's the word I'm looking for, sir. You hit the nail on the head. I do a simple mapping. So you see me thinking, maybe the intro from proposal 5, if I combine it with the methodology of proposal 7, and I use the template of the budget of proposal 9, and maybe I adapt the risk methodology or mitigation of proposal 32. Before you know it, proposal is ready. Am I making sense? This is preparation. I know that most grants ask for CVs, but they normally will specify they require a 2-page CV. Do you realize that the CV of an average professor in Africa is 20 pages and above? So now you are asking Professor, Prof, sir, do you want to be a partner of my grant? Oh, absolutely. Can you send me your CV? And you say, Prof, please make it a 2-page CV. Now, Prof is thinking, do I even have time to convert a 30-page CV to 2 pages? You must be joking. That's why you are waiting for Prof. 1 week, 2 weeks. Is one day to deadline. Prof has not sent proposal, or sorry, CV, because there's no time. So can someone guess, what do you think I've done? I'm talking about preparation. What do you think I've done? Anybody?
You're very correct.
I'm asking a
For
simple
the
question.
past,
Yes,
I
go on,
said,
sir.
Doc, you're very correct.
Thank you, sir.
For the past 2 weeks, University of Nigeria and Sugar asked me to send just a 4-page CV. Meanwhile, my CV is 50 pages. So,
Well, there you go.
and I've
There you
not done
go.
anything.
Thank you very much. And you won't. And I don't blame you, bro, because you're a busy man. I don't blame you. It's not your fault. So because I like money, like most of you do, but let me confirm first that you like money. So if you like money in the room, can you say yes, I do? Just confirm. Let me be sure. Because I think I've been assuming that you like
Yes,
money.
I do.
Because people are behaving like they like money, but they're not behaving like they do. If you like money,
Yes,
you give money some respect, and you behave differently when it comes to funding. This is actually true. So you see the way I'm behaving, all these dimensions is because to win money requires a structure. Don't worry, my Tammy, I will share the link. Can you follow me? Of course, you like money, but if you like money, then treat money with respect. Everything you've heard me say today so far on this call, have you heard anybody say this on a grant writing proposal or workshop? Be honest, yes or no? Be honest, guys. Have you heard anybody cover this dimension in a proposal writing workshop you've gone for?
No.
And you wonder why you wonder why people don't win money.
Of course,
So when
no.
we're putting together the program, it's so comprehensive and so practical that it's almost impossible. I'm not kidding you, to finish the 6 weeks program and not begin to win funding, because it's a kind of program. You start putting the proposals together, and your mindset shifts and changes while the course is going on. That's why it's unique. Nobody's doing this, all honesty. So, because of my experience winning so much funding and traveling all over the continent, because my job means I travel a lot. In the last 2 months, I've been in about 9 countries already. So I'm always meeting academics, professionals, and I keep asking them the same thing. Nobody is considering these, and they wonder why they don't win money. But there's too much money for anybody to be broke. In that sense, as an academic or a professional, it's about applying for funding. So that should be a shift in the way you behave or your attitude towards funding opportunities. So what have I done? On my laptop, there is a folder, is CVs for funding. There are over 100 CVs, 2-page CVs, 1-page CVs, 3-page CVs. I've spent time with my team to collate from many professors I potentially would call to be partners on different proposals. Why do I have to wait until 3 days to the deadline? And I say, Professor, my professor, Professor Dozier, please send me your 50-page, 2-page CV. When Professor Dozier just told us he has a 50-page CV. All I just do is, Prof, so Prof, send us that 50-page CV, and one of my team will now convert it into 2 or 3 pages. Prof, Professor Dozier, please, sir, is it easier for you to approve a 3-page CV that somebody has helped you to condense using a template, because we have a template, than asking you to write it yourself? Is it better for you to just approve a 3-page CV that's been written from your 50-page CV, sir? Please be honest, Prof.
Look, what did you say again?
So Professor Dozier, I'm asking you a question. Is it easier for you?
Yes.
If I requested for your 50-page CV and now convert it to 3 pages using a template and send you the 3-page CV and say, Prof, approve it or add and subtract, is that easier for you to do?
Very easy, very easy, very easy.
Exactly. Because when you ask him to do the conversion, he's too busy. So my team collates all these many professors' CVs and we spend time because we have a template and do the conversions. So after they've approved it, we keep it. So next call for proposals, I don't have to ask Professor Dozier, send me your CV. No, I already have it. All I say, Professor Dozier, I am using your CV for a grant. Case closed. He either says yes or he says no. I've not met any prof who has told me no yet because they like money too. I follow my point. This is structure, which nobody teaches in any workshops or training. It's what makes this training very unique. We just finished a training program for about 40 participants across 6 countries, and it's a full online grantsmanship training. It's 6 weeks, very flexible, and each week covers each of the P's, because there are 6 P's: perspectives, people, partnerships, problem, practice, and also what? Person. It's covered. So it's perspectives, the first P, people, problems. Because if you don't know the problems you want to apply for funding for and articulate them, you always be in a hurry, which is why proposals are already in place. Partnerships, preparation, documentation, that's what it is. And then practice. So each P is covered in every week, and it's so flexible that you only have to watch a series of videos and you have been given a series of exercises. You know, we're receiving testimonies just in the last 1 or 2 weeks. One of my colleagues, or 2 of my colleagues who are actually managing and mentoring on that program, as I'm speaking to you, are on the call. I will be receiving requests and testimonies. Even before the program finishes, people have been applying and winning grants. That's the difference. Because the average person can write, an academic can write proposals. That's not what the issue is. Preparation and practice, so / person. So that's basically time management, making sure that what you do, you love it. Because at the end of the day, that's the last P. At the end of the day, if you don't love what you do, there's no passion to apply for grants for it. So the last P is practice / person. So how can you as a person begin to manage your time? So for example, how do you let go of things that's not very necessary? An example is many people will spend, like, I don't know, for example, like 7 hours watching Netflix. Can you convert one or 2 hours towards funding for your own career? So we teach that in the last P. It's practice and person together. So people are on 5 committees, 7 subcommittees, subcommittees as an academic. So the question is, do you really need all these committees? Can you let go of 2? So you can just divert that time towards grantsmanship to win funding to enhance your career. It's a very important P we teach in the last week. Or else people will have all this in place and they don't have time to even apply for the grant in the first place. That's why that final P is very, very crucial. I'll take it again. It's perspectives. And under perspectives, we also have politics. That's number 1. Number 2 is people. So who is your crew? And what's the makeup of the crew? Number 3 is problems. So why are you applying for funding? That means, what's the makeup of the proposals? I know over 70 problems I want to solve, and I've written them out into proposal form. That's why I am able to apply for many grants. That's number 3 is problems. Number 4 is partnerships. How are you able to map who you're partnering with across different levels, multidisciplinary, societal partners, and even geographical partners? Number 5, preparation. What documents are crucial? You can begin to prepare in readiness. Templates. We have all the templates within the program. And finally, practice and person. So that's you yourself, time management, your hobbies, your interests, your passion. How does it contribute towards effective and efficient grantsmanship? Okay, that's the end. That's the all from me. So I want to open it to questions before I wrap up. Any questions, please?
Yes. Doc.
Yes, Prof. Yes, Prof. Go ahead. Yes.
After this briefing, can I send the CV so that I use the template and help me?
Prof, you know I like money. So if you do that, I have to charge you serious money. In fact, we teach this in the program, entrepreneurial thinking. Every opportunity to solve a problem is opportunity to revenue. So as an academic, you should never be broke. I'm joking, Prof. Just send it to me. That should be sorted. but I'm making the point, though. I'm making the point. Yeah.
Another question.
So
Thank you.
any other questions? Or Prof, I can even send you the template to use. Any master's degree student in your class can do it easily with a template. I can forward you the templates. It's very straightforward.
Thank you very much. I'll be most grateful. Thank you.
Any
Yes,
other
Prof.
questions, please? Let's go.
I have one. I have a question.
Please,
if you can
please
hear
go
me.
ahead. Yeah, I can hear you very clearly. Go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you. I've been longing to ask this question. You know, you've been talking about, do you want money, and so on, and then you'll
Yes.
never be broke. You know, so I'm a little bit confused. I went for a grant training once, and we were told that the money you get is for research. It's not for. So I don't know. I've been confused. How do you make money from the grant money if it's for research? The impression is that you don't. You know. I don't know if you understand my question.
I get your point fully.
Yes,
yes,
thank you.
Yes, you can make a lot of money because most grants, as a matter of fact, I think all grants I've ever applied for actually allows you to cost for personnel. It's a cost. So personnel cost, travel cost, equipment cost. Because you have to remember, as an academic or professional, what is money in the real sense of the word? And the way to ask the question is this. While I understand money in the pocket, which is also allowed in proposals, the other element is, what are the things you need to be done? If I ask you, okay, I want an equipment. If I gave you the equipment, have I given you money, sir? Am I making sense?
Yes, I'm with you.
Yes.
So I'm asking
Yes,
you a
you
question.
have.
I have. So it's either I've given you money, cash in the bank, or I've given you or bought you an equipment because it's what you want or need to do something. Are you following me? So many people just view money from cash in the bank perspective, which is still allowed in most of the grants I apply for. As a matter of fact, because personnel cost is crucial. So you can charge for your time. So for example, I can charge up to £500 a day. So if it's a 3 years project, I can say, for example, I want to maybe put maybe 100 days per year out of 365 days. That means, so do the calculation. £500 per day contributes to what? That's £50,000 over 100 days. Am I making sense? So that is allowed in most grants. It's how you make money because at the end of the day, you're actually doing the work yourself, even though it's research. On top of that, you can cost for equipment, cost for travels, cost for development partnerships. You can even cost for payment to actually publish papers in international journals, which, as you can imagine, most international journals actually require money for you to actually publish in those journals. That can be costed on your line items. So that's how you make money. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Beautiful. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yes.
Let's go on.
Dr. Grace, please.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. Please, I'm interested in the proposal in the CV shortening templates. Thank you so much. It's been a rewarding time, eye-opening. I actually enjoyed the session. Thank you very much.
Much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Sir.
All right.
Yes, doctor.
So yes. Yes.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Good evening.
Go ahead.
Good evening.
Go ahead.
Thank you.